Pedro Alexandrino.
So you're not getting your headphones in?
Nascimento.
Nah,
You got rid of that look?
I'm a thug, bro. Marshall likes the headphones.
Pedro Nascimento.
Let's go.
Pedro.
Now, what's
with
the
the
deal, bro?
Alexandrino.
Yeah, what's this? You have
Bro,
like,
check this out. My next son, I'm claiming son, it's going to be Benjamin Alexandrino Militão do Nascimento. Bam.
Poor kid, bro.
Bro, you guys
Bro,
You guys
this
are
is
messed
a
up.
king's name. This
You
is a
guys have
king's
messed
name.
up with your names.
Yeah.
Kings have multiple names.
What's he going to be the king of?
The kingdom.
It's interesting you said when I have my
He's the king of
next
the
son.
kingdom.
When I have my next son. What if it's a girl?
It's fine.
This is
Fine if it's a
recorded.
girl.
This
the
is
next queen.
So tell me, why do you have Pedro Nascimento? And
All right. So
Pedro
family
Alex?
name like you guys have, like Gray, for
Yeah.
example. That's my Nascimento. That's my family name. That's my father's family name. For some reason, my mom's family is pretty big, right? They have a history. In that city they came and they used to work on the markets and all of that. So they have a history. So they wanted to keep my mom's name because you normally keep the father's name. So they wanted to keep my mom's name in the family.
Because
so they
it's
gave
more
me,
famous.
yeah, it's more famous than my dad's, or in that context, I'd say. So they gave me my mom's name, Militão. And then the second name, Alexandrino, every man in my father's family, the Nascimento, they carry a compound or composed compound name, like two names, like John Mark kind of thing. So Alexandrino comes from Alexandria in Italy or whatever, Greece, whatever that is. So every man carries that. And then tradition is the oldest of that generation drops the first name and becomes the Alexandrino. So my grandfather was the Alexandrino when I was young. He passed away. Now my dad is the Alexandrino in the family. His name is Nelson, but he's called by the Alexandrino. And
so you'll be
tradition would
the
say, "I will be
Alexandrino.
the Alexander the Great Third." Rome.
You glad you asked that
Any
question?
coincidence with
Well,
Rome?
what's this other one? Nascimento, Alexandrino, and
So Pedro Alexandrino, that's my compound name. Is that compound? Is that how you say it?
whatever.
Yeah. And then Militão is my mother's name.
Militão.
Yeah.
We've never heard that before.
Yeah, that's my third name.
Jeez.
That's another one for you to add to your confusion.
What are we doing here?
So you were born in Brazil?
Born in Brazil, 1983. The best year of all.
You know what they
83
also
generation.
You know what they also do is they add the parents, like they add two names together. That's what you're saying. That's like Samantha's dad is Walter Zildo.
Yeah.
So, but no one calls him that. They just call him Barbosa. It's very confusing.
Very confusing. Yeah. And I was born in 1983, September 20th. So 2 days from now on, I'm
happy
turning
birthday.
40.
So
Are you turning 40?
40. I know I look like 28.
No,
but it's all
no.
good.
No, you could pull off 30, 33. Check out those greys in the beard, bro.
Come on.
Let's go.
born where in Brazil?
Born in a little town called Volta Redonda, Rio de Janeiro. It's about 2 hours away from the beach, from the famous location. Industrial city, blue collar. The city has grown around the industry, and pretty much 80% of the workforce. By the time I was born, they worked in the industry. Now it has changed because that's been sold, privatized, whatever you call it. So it used to be government owned. Long story, the Americans gave that industry to our city, Second World War, in exchange for cost price sheet, metal sheet or something. And that deal is like a 50-year deal. It just came to the finish. And then when it came to that finish, to the end of that contract, the industry was sold. It's the fifth, I think it's the fifth or the fourth biggest steel mill in the world. It's in our city.
And they just sold it.
Yeah, they sold. The
To
government
China.
sold it because it was government owned. So the government sold and privatized
To a foreigner or a Brazilian?
It's a Brazilian who has, I think it's a Russian background, but he's a Brazilian. Steinbrück,
Well, at
the
least
name of the
staying
guy.
in-
It's a Brazilian with a Russian background. What's his
Yeah.
Russian background? Well, he
Mafia.
No. He moved to Brazil 6 months ago.
KGB.
Yeah, so he's pretty much Russian. Yeah, but they gave him a Brazilian passport, so he's Brazilian.
Now his family has been in the textile industry for ages. They're pretty rich, and they bought the industry. They couldn't care less about the industry. They like let go more than 50% of the workforce. Yeah, but it's pretty old. It's weird. Like when you go to that city, you go like, bro, there's nothing here.
I've been to that city.
Industry. Yeah,
I know Volta Redonda.
the air is pretty clear there. Eh?
It's beautiful.
Not.
So it used to be nice, but the river was beautiful and all that. Hey,
Well, in the beginning, yes, there was the big river around in the beginning of the city. But I think the industry just made the whole city look like a bad version of Detroit, maybe Portland. Like everything is industrial. Everything is just
yeah, wow. So
I still liked
you were
it.
brought up there.
yeah.
Brought up like Catholic or anything because of your.
Well, in Brazil, everyone's a Catholic. That's just the reality. Everyone is, as soon as they're born, they are, baptized in the Catholic Church, Christian, and whatever that is. And I was there. They dressed me in white.
Have you got a photo of that?
I do have a photo of that.
Joe in all white.
I didn't bring that one. I did bring an interesting photo to show you guys, but born Catholic by identification, I guess everyone is, but really never went to church. My family wasn't really religious. My dad is now he claims to be an agnostic,
right?
But back in the days he would be a proud atheist. So things are changing, praise the Lord. And my mom is just like, we'll go wherever, support whatever. So
Siblings?
I got one younger sister. I'm 40, she's 38.
She still live in Brazil?
Yeah, she lives in Brazil. She lives in Rio, big capital, by the beach.
Yep.
She's made a career with cosmetics. She's a pharmacist. Wow. So she's the smart part of the equation, I got the energy, she's got the smartness.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so what did you do in Volta Redonda? There's not much there growing up.
Yeah, there's not much there. I grew up, family, not religious or anything. Like every other normal kid, we really never lacked anything. My family was okay. I wouldn't say my family was well off, but we were okay. And then, I grew up involved in a bunch of different things with school and a little bit of music here and there. And by the time I was 14, I think, or 13, I started playing basketball, and that's when the trouble started. Got involved with the wrong people, wrong place.
How old were you?
About 13, 12. I grew up loving the game of basketball. I remember when I was 6 years old, I started watching the game.
Wow.
In Brazil, we didn't have any cable TV or anything, so we would watch these old tapes of recorded games that the rich guys would have in our cities somewhere. I don't know how they got their hands on it, because at the time there was no YouTube, no internet, nothing. So I have no idea how they got their hands on it. But I remember I would watch, Chicago Bulls and Utah Jazz, the finals 2 years later. And we were like cheering in front of the TV and all of that, learning the moves. So I was 6. That was 1989. Jordan was just making into the league. Anyway, I don't want to make this a basketball thing. So I grew up loving the game. And then when I was 13, 14, I was getting pretty tall. I was like, yeah, should try that. So tried for the team, got involved with the wrong people. Everyone's doing drugs or some sort of violence in that team. Everyone comes
in Volta Redonda?
Yeah. They Volta Redonda is 2 hours from Rio, but it's sort of the escape for the drug culture and the trafficking in Brazil. So in Rio is the biggest capital for the gangs. There's 2 gangs that actually control the whole drug cartel in Brazil. And Rio is the headquarter, all of the favelas and everything. So when they run away from the police, they come to Volta Redonda. Fair enough, it's like 300,000 people living in it. And like Rio, there's a lot of favelas. For people who don't know, favelas like the slums just around the city. So there's a lot of that in Volta Redonda too. I didn't grow up in that area, but all of my friends came from those places. Maybe because of the culture, street culture, basketball. So they sort of relate to that same thing. And, in my gang was pretty funny. Everyone was doing violence or drugs and everyone was black. I was the only white kid in the middle of them. So, And funny story is, out of that group, about maybe 25, 30 of us, growing up the same age, same date, a third of them died and a third of them were in jail. And the 30% left, roughly, they're all in church doing something.
Wow.
So that's the picture I want to show. I don't think
I've seen it.
You might have seen it.
I've seen it.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, but no, but I want to see it again because I've seen it 7 years ago.
Show it to the guys. So that's we might show it to the guys watching it. So that's how we started it. When I came to church, I think I was 19. So for about 5 years, we were playing the game, playing the championships, state, nationals, whatever. We got pretty good, and then we would go to the basketball courts, which were pretty few in our city. We go to the basketball courts while they were doing the drug trafficking overnight, like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I remember my mom sometimes would come down the corner and just yell my name, Pedro, come home. What the flip are you doing? You know, and the guys would ridicule me like, oh, your mom is calling you and all of that. And then next thing you know, their mom is calling them at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then, you know, the bosses of the drug dealing and all of that, they were just watching. So we would play the games and, you know, entertain whatever the crowd was there, you know, 10 people, 15 people on the court. And we would stop the game, and in the middle of the game, I would start preaching. So that's the photo that you just saw. Like I would start preaching.
How old were you?
Probably 18, right. 18, 19. I had just had an encounter with God. We can talk about that. And then, like, I think I went on preaching before I start going to church, just because the church wouldn't have room for this kind of people. So,
yeah, right. So, okay. So, how did you have an encounter with the Lord?
That was a fast track version of the story.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but by the age of 13, 14, got involved with the wrong people, started playing basketball, and grew pretty resentful with my dad. My dad is a very honorable guy, great heart. At the time, atheist. And his thing was always, I'll work as hard as I can to provide for the family. So he wasn't very present. My dad was always a good dad, good father, never violent. We only had one altercation and it was like pretty hectic. But overall, great dad. Looking back now, I'm 40. I look back, I was like, man, my dad did everything he could. But, you know, growing up, he wasn't present, involved with the wrong people. You can only think the wrong things. So I got pretty violent, and for a couple of times, around the age of 15, 16, I've attempted against his life, just silly stuff, you know, glass here and bottles or whatever. By the third time, I was 17, turning 18. It was pretty hectic. We had a big argument around the table and, you know, curse words all over the place. So he got up and just walked out in the kitchen, fairly big kitchen in our house for Brazilian standards. So when he walked out, I grabbed a knife, pretty big knife, and I was going to stab him in the back. I was decided to kill him right there. And for some sort of miracle that to this day, I cannot figure out, because my house like this, the kitchen is like here, like a rectangle. And on the back of my house, there is this dwelling place that my dad built for my grandmother when she was sick, actually. And that has served our family because a lot of people came and lived there. But in order to get to that place, you either go through the kitchen or you go around the house. There's no other way. You either go around the house or you go through the kitchen. Long story short, I'm in the kitchen. I'm about to stab my dad. And then my auntie, that at the time was living upstairs, showed up in the kitchen. Don't know how, because she didn't come through the kitchen and she did not go around the house. She just showed up in the kitchen and she knocked the knife out of my hand. That was it. Like I was about to stab him and she knocked the knife out of my hand, and maybe she came around the whole house. I don't know. We can't figure it out. She can't figure it out. She doesn't remember the story as it is. She just knows that she saved my dad that day.
Far out.
Then he saw.
Is that your dad's sister?
No, my mom's sister.
Your mum's sister. Okay.
And then
she the auntie that prays and all.
No, that's another one.
Wow.
Yeah, that's another one. So my mom had 11 sisters, I think.
Wow.
Growing up. So that's the reason for the name. And then my dad realized what was happening. That's like a matter of seconds. My dad turns around. It's like, that's it. You're not my son anymore. You're deserted. You have to walk out right now. And then I just walk out, cursing everything, walk into my room. You know, it's easy to be a man when you're by yourself. So I broke the whole room down, broke the windows, broke the wardrobe, everything, punched everything, glass going through my hands and all of that. So I was bleeding. And then I walked out with whatever I could carry. I just walked out and I said, that's it, I'm out. So My plan, my brave plan is I'm going to go live on the streets.
Wow.
I lasted a day and a half. Overnight on the street, that was easy. Used to go to the clubs and all of that. And then in the morning, I'm thinking, what the heck am I doing?
Where am I going to go?
Like, like looking back, I look back in the story of the prodigal son.
Oh,
I was
I'm
like,
man, I'm good.
yeah. I look back in the story of the prodigal son. I'm like, man, obviously I wasn't eating with the pigs, but I'm like, that guy realized what I sort of realized earlier. So I'm like, nah, I'm not doing this. Coincidentally, my best friend, Diego, said, look, bro, you're not staying on the street. Come stay with me. Because he knew the whole story. He's seen like 5 years unfolding with my dad. Like that fight was the teardrop. There was the last outcome. But anyway, he took me in. I stayed there for a couple of weeks. And then everyone's looking for me. My mom's looking for me. My sister's looking for me. No one knows where I am. I'm just hiding. And then my aunt, who is the prayer warrior, the only Christian at the time in my family, figures out where I am, comes to my rescue, and says, you're not staying with this guy. Because, bad company anyway. You're not staying with this guy. We're still best friends to this day anyway, but you come here and stay with us. So she literally dragged me out of his house, puts me in her house, and said, you stay in here. Big risk for her. Young kids at the time. She had 3 kids. They're all around the age of 5, 6, 4. So big risk, taking a big risk. Because remember, I'm walking around with the wrong people. They're coming around the house like, hey, what are you going to do? So she takes me in. A couple of nights later, she says, God told me he's going to solve your problem. And I just laughed at her. I was like,
There's no God.
I don't believe in God. And she's like, it doesn't matter what you believe. He told me he's going to solve your problem. And I'm like, yeah, how? Tell me how. And one of the things my dad did to me when I was a kid, like just gave us instruction, education. Read, son, read. You have to work on your mind. So I was like, I know there is no God. I know the math. I know the ins and outs. Tell me how. And she said, we're going to call your dad at some day. We're going to call your dad. He's going to pick up the phone crying, and he's going to say, send my son back home. These 4 things. And I'm like, you just shoot yourself in the head because you just shot yourself in the head because that's not going to happen exactly because of the reasons you just told me. First of all, I ain't calling my dad. I'm too proud for that. Second of all, my dad never cries. I've lived with a man for 17 years. I have never seen him cry, never. So he never cries. Third of all, he never picks up the phone. It's always my mom. And if by any chance he picks up the phone in that stage, he will crack a joke at you because every time people call our house in inconvenient times, he grabs the phones off my mom's and then he cracks jokes at these telemarketers things. At the time, it was a big thing in Brazil. Telemarketers calling you to sell stuff.
Still is now.
Big thing here.
Yeah, so he's like, I'm like, that's never happening. And she's like, you just wait.
And the expression is you shot yourself in the foot.
Foot.
Yeah, because you shoot yourself in the foot like it's not going to happen. Like you killed your own plan.
I just learned
shoot yourself in the head is like that's over. That's dead.
Okay, well,
Cool.
That's what I mean.
So you shoot yourself. I got what you mean. I'm just clarifying for the listeners.
It's like I was saying in the bike ride. You got a punch in the tire. It's not a punch. It's a puncture.
Yes, yeah. And everyone's like puncture.
Believe it or not, bro. When I came here, I spoke no English, so all of this.
Bro,
is new.
you're great, dude.
All of this is new.
You're
but anyway, back to the story. Maybe 3 weeks go by. 11 o'clock at night, she comes running down the stairs because she's on the 2nd level in her house. I'm sleeping on the couch. She wakes me up, shaking me like, wake up, wake up. I was praying. God spoke to me right now. I was like, what? God, go what? I was still half asleep. She's like, God spoke to me. I was praying and God spoke to me. It's now 11 o'clock at night. I was like, oh, okay. So I sat up and then she literally picked up the phone, one of those that you had to put in your ear.
Yeah, with the cable.
You have to dial. I still remember the number, man. The number in my house, 33428267. So she dialed and the whole thing, like it seemed to me that it was taking forever. She literally said nothing on the phone. She picked up the earpiece, just put it on my ear. It rang once. On the second one, my dad picks up the phone, can't say anything. He's sobbing on the other side. He's like, and I'm like, how do you know? Like, what's going on? And then I remembered that she said that God was going to do that. And then when he can recollect himself and take a breather, he says, send my son back home. I can't take this anymore.
Oh, whoa.
And I'm like, I'm looking around like, what's going on?
Who staged this?
Yeah, that's what I told her. Like, I literally, she dropped the phone. She didn't even say anything. She just hung up. I looked at her, and I'm like, you staged this. You spoke to him, and you just want to lure me in. And she's like, I haven't spoken to your dad in 3 months. I went to your rescue without them knowing. I haven't spoken to your dad in 3 months. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, but you got to tell me what's going on. Then my uncle walks in. What's going on? And then she says, look, at this time, my legs are shaking. I sit down again. I start crying, not knowing why. And then I ask her, what's going on? And she said this exactly sentence. I never forgot. She said, God is saving you. I don't know why. You do not deserve to be alive. But if he's saving you, who am I to stop it? And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? Like, saving me from what? And she's like, well, look, I don't know that much. All I know is that you got to say this prayer. So she got this Baptist booklet that you have to cross the abyss thing, and then you're here, and God is here, and there's the cross
in the middle.
Yeah, she's like, you just gotta say this prayer, boy. You say this prayer, you'll be saved. I was like, okay, I'm in. Whatever the prayer is. So I just repeated,
Jesus.
yeah, dear Jesus, come into my heart. I repent, be my Lord and Savior, whatever that is. So I don't even remember what I prayed. So we prayed, and then she said, okay, now we gotta take action, repent, and bring fruit. Bear fruit of repentance. I was like,
What's repent?
okay, what do I do? We're gonna walk back to your house, and you're going to apologize. And I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. But it's 11 o'clock at night. Everyone's sleeping. Now your dad is crying back home waiting for you. So I woke, and, with what I know today, which is not much, I look back and it's like, this is literally the prodigal son history, or the prodigal son story. I woke in. My dad comes to the door. So he comes to my encounter. For the first time in my life, man, he gives me a hug. First time in my life. That I remember, obviously. As a kid, he probably hugged me a lot of times. But that I remember, that was the first time that my dad actually hugged me. Wow. So he gave me a hug, and then we walk in, pretty big lounge for Brazilian standards, in my house. And then that was the first time that my family ever said a prayer together. That is the only day that my family prayed together, before and after my conversion. To this day, they're still like, argh. They've been to church a few times when we started the church and all of that, but they're like, Anyway, we held hands. It wasn't all rosy after that, but then we started to become friends. And then that's how the story unfolded.
So you started reading the Bible on that?
Yeah, so from there, that was my conversion experience. Went back home. I think that was a Friday. I'm not sure. I remember the pictures, but I don't remember the dates. And then my auntie walks out and said, look, I'll see you on Sunday. I'll come pick you up. So, for what? For church. Okay, we go to church, Baptist church. At the end of the service, old pastor, like he's 80-something, makes the altar call playing the violin. He plays the violin, makes the altar call at the same time. And he's like, if you want to accept Jesus as your Savior. And I was like, I think that's me. Let's go. So I walked down the altar. They were playing like this traditional hymn. I walked down the altar. And at this time in the Baptist church, pretty much everyone knows who I am. So about 200 people. But my aunt is pretty famous in that church. She helped bring that up. My grandma used to go to church. So typical black church storyline. So I walked down and was like, okay, I want to give my life to Jesus. So I say that prayer again. I was like, how many times am I going to have to say that prayer? So I said that prayer again, and then walked out, didn't do anything first week. Second week, go to church again. He does the same thing. Another altar call playing the violin. I'm like, okay, I'm down again. Let's go. So I think I did that like 3 or 4 times until he came to my ears like, son, you've done it before. You don't need to do it again. It's like, what's next then, Pastor? You got to read your Bible. He told me, you got to read my Bible. Okay, Bible. My uncle gave me a Bible. Okay, I'll go home and read the Bible. So I went home, read the Bible in a couple of weeks. I skipped a lot of stuff, but I read pretty much the whole thing in 2 weeks. Came back to him in 2 weeks. I finished. And he's like, finished what? The Bible. You told me to read the Bible. I read the Bible. He's like, no, you can't read the Bible in 2 weeks. Well, I did it. I did skip a lot of things, but I did it. And he's like, what did you understand? And I said, to be honest, nothing. I understood nothing. And he's like, how did you read it? What do you mean, how did I read it? I opened and read it. He's like, no, you got to start in the middle. And I was like, that's it for me. You guys are so weird. You sing the same songs. You make the same altar call. Like I learned it was called an altar call. And I kept coming. I said the same prayer. You told me to read the book. I read the damn book. And now you're like, you got to read it in the middle. It makes no sense. So he passed me on to this youth pastor who was going to help me understand the Bible. And then when I started it, like maybe 2 days in, I was skipping class and coming to this guy to learn the Bible, which is not really a good example. By the second day, I was like, okay, I got it. I know what I got to do. I just got to go after my friends. I don't need all of it. I just got to go after my friends. And then I started that. We started playing basketball, going to the skate parks and all of that. All of the druggies and all of the guys, like they were instantly, in a week, we had like 15, 20 people. Like a little group. And the way I was going, I was like, you know what, guys, I've been to church. They told me we're going to hell. You're all going to hell. I was preaching like it was weird, using the wrong language and all of that. And they're like, hell, I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to burn. I'm in. Whatever that is, I'm in. And said, so I will take these guys to church. And we walk into this Baptist traditional church with the deacon at the door, and he's stopping every one of us. It's like, you can't come in dressed like that. And I was like, what's wrong with our dressing? And then it's just the way we dress. So we were forbidden to come to church. So I had to start teaching them whatever I knew outside of the church. So we literally on the Sundays, we would sit on the porch, on the steps of the church to teach them what the guy was teaching inside. He was preaching. I was just like, oh, that's what he's talking about. And that's how we started. And then one thing led to another. That lasted for a year, and then I left to New Zealand.
So you were 19 when you...
18 to 19, yeah.
When you went to New Zealand?
Yeah. When I went to New Zealand, I was 21. So that took about a year, 20, 21. Yeah. And then I was 21 when we went.
And that's when the real discipline started, eh?
Yeah.
No, you went 21.
No, I was 23, I think. It was 2 years later. Yeah.
So how did that happen? So you bowed from
So Jesus
Brazil?
saved me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I gotta get my act together. I gotta get married because I grew up in the culture that marriage was out of the picture. So gotta get married, and I found this amazing girl, Nalini, which is
shout out to Nalini.
Shout out to Nalini. So a few friends just orchestrated it. So I stalked her for about 2 weeks.
Stalked
Did you
her?
say, yeah, let's just clarify, you said stalked, and this is before Facebook, so this is legitimate stalking.
Legitimate stalk. So what happened was...
His little disclaimer.
She grew up in America, and she was teaching English at this little English course where my family, in the building where my family had a business in.
In Volta Redonda?
Volta Redonda. Yeah, of all places.
Wow.
So my family had a business in there, and I would walk in to that business every now and again just to, say hello, whatever I was doing, try to do my own thing.
Ask for some food.
So,
Sorry, keep going.
And then some friends connected us. I was like, man, she's pretty, and she speaks English. She's a gringo, like she's a gringa. So I'll marry that girl. That was it. Like that was the first interaction. So I tried to speak to her in the English course. She wouldn't give a crap about me. She was just like, nah, I ain't talking to you, bro. Nah, you're not my type. So I stopped her for 2 weeks.
You're like, she's a gringa. She's like, you're from the favelas, bro.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what's that movie like with the dog thing? Like there's a princess and the dog. I forgot.
Beauty and the Beast.
No, not the Beauty and the Beast, but it's close. It's like it's a dog.
Juliet.
It's a dog that lives on the street. I'm not sure if it exists in Australia, but it's a dog that lives in the street.
Yeah, it's two dogs.
Pretty dog.
And they the
101 Dalmatians.
No. The spaghetti, they eat the spaghetti bowl.
Yes.
That's 101 Dalmatians.
No, it's not.
No,
it's not. So, anyway, it's the story.
It's there.
They'll figure it out.
From the wrong side of the tracks.
So there's like the bad guy and the princess.
Yeah.
So she would get the bus back home, and I would just hop on the same bus.
This is stalking.
I would look, bro. In Australia, this would be jail time. Jail time.
Right.
So, but we're in Brazil, so I'm stalking her like for 2 weeks, and then she would drop, at the bus station. I would drop right behind her, and I would just walk like creep. That's creepy.
Scary, bro.
But her dad would come pick her up from the bus stop.
Praise the Lord for
So her
dad.
dad would come pick her up on a motorcycle, and then she would jump in. She would just look back and was like, "Later, idiot," and just drive by. And
How
I'm
far
like,
away was your house from there?
another 30 minutes on the bus. So then I would get the bus from there back to my house. Yeah, sweet.
Was just this the opportunity? You just wanted maybe to talk to her, maybe?
Yeah, well, I wanted her to in my heart, I wanted her to realize that I'm serious. But I'm not behaving seriously.
What kind of serious?
Yeah, culture, bro, culture.
Can you call Triple O, please?
Anyway, so if you're watching this in Australia, do not emulate this behavior.
So bad.
You will get jail time. So I did it for a couple of weeks, and then I was like, I got to realize where she lives, man, because I can only see the bus stop and her dad, and I wasn't brave enough to follow the motorcycle and all of that. I was like, that's going to get me in trouble for sure. So I realized where she lives. Some friends, connected the dots. So I went to her house. So I, ring the bell. She comes out. It was during the day. She comes out. I was like, girl, I've been following you, stalking you, chasing you for 2 weeks, and you don't seem to give a crap. Well, what's up with it? And she's like, I know your type. I don't want anything to do with you. And I was like, no, you don't understand. I don't want none of that.
I follow Jesus.
I said, okay, you don't understand. I don't want none of that. I want to marry you. And she's like, what? Whoa. Way too fast, bro. Way too fast. I want to marry you. I'm serious. I was like, okay, so I've done my research, and you just being a player. You go and break up with the girl that you have there, stop all the crap that you're doing, and then you come and see me. And when you come and see me, first you got to see my dad. He's gonna talk to you. And then
Nalini's saying this.
And then it's across the gate, because in Brazil, like every house has a gate.
Yeah.
So she's like, and if you're serious, we can talk after that. So I actually never had a conversation with her until I spoke to her dad. Never had a serious conversation. So I went back, broke up with the girl that I had.
All on the same day?
Like in the course of 48 hours. Broke up with the girl that I had, came back. I said, okay, I'm ready to talk to your dad. She's like, okay, I'll set it up. So she set it up. I came, put on a suit. I literally put on a suit.
You put on a suit?
I put on a suit, walked in.
Pedro.
And then he walks on. He's a pretty serious guy. And he's like, okay, so what do you want? So, I want to marry your daughter.
This is all in Brazil.
All in Brazil. Portuguese.
Yeah. Okay, can you just imitate his Portuguese? How he said?
He walks in and he sits on the table.
Yeah.
It's like, que você quer? Literally.
What do you want?
What do you want?
Yeah.
It's like, quero casar com a sua filha. I want to marry your daughter. And it's like, take it easy. No, vai devagar. Devagar. Take it easy. And then
Vai devagar.
I think we had like maybe 3 lines. And he said something along the lines. He says, in Portuguese, he said this. Começa devagar. Vamos ver até onde vai. Which means you start slow and let's see where it takes.
Wow.
Let's see where it takes you. I was like, that's a trust that I wouldn't have with my daughters. That's a level of trust that I wouldn't trust anyone with my daughters. I don't know what he saw in me.
Well, he's dealing with a bull in the middle of a china shop.
Bro.
And he's like, listen, let's go out of the china shop.
And then I'll stick you in.
Yeah. Let's get a harness on top of you and see if someone can break you in.
It's pretty much what he did. And then I was given permission to date his daughter. So we sat down on the couch very awkwardly for like the next couple of hours. They were watching the news. Nalini and I right here doing nothing, just sitting. And they watching the news. And I'm like, okay, I think this is over. I'm going to go home. So I said, look, excuse me, time to go home. And I went, that was like 6 o'clock in the afternoon. So she walks out with me. I was like, so can we start talking now? And then she gave me one little smack kiss in the cheek. That's it. I'll see you later.
This is like an arranged marriage, bro.
Like an arranged marriage.
1600s, bro.
So anyway, we started our relationship like that. We dated for 6 months. And then I proposed to her, 6 months. And then we were engaged for a year. We got married. And then we left Brazil.
So how old were you? 20.
I got married when I was 21, left turning 22.
Wow.
And you flew directly from Brazil to New Zealand?
Brazil, stop in Chile, stop in Argentina,
Buenos Aires.
New Zealand, yeah.
All right. You get to New Zealand and then what?
I went first. I was supposed to be there for 3 months, as every immigrant, try to figure it out. I had no idea, couldn't speak any word of English. And I went by myself. I said to Nalini, you stay here, I'll figure it out, and then you come. Because I wasn't kidding. I am going to provide. Just
Did you wear your suit?
no suit. No suit. So I went to New Zealand, and I stayed in this backpackers for maybe like 3 days. Walked in, the backpacker was rubbish, trashed. The beds smelled like pee. My mattress was all wet. Someone had peed on the mattress. And I literally carried the mattress downstairs to try to speak to the manager. And I couldn't explain what was happening. I was like, bro, the smell, you know, like it's pee. It's just weird. Like, and he couldn't care less. He's just like, bro, it's man, like $15 on that. What do you want? You know, and I couldn't understand what he was saying. So I was like, that's it for me. 3 days, that's it for me. Turning point, we were in a bedroom with 6 beds. And at the time, it was just me and this guy that came on the plane with me. It's another great story. The guy was full on a weed smoker. It's just like New Zealand was the dream for him, you know? And we walked into this room, like just me and him, and he's like trying to find places to smoke weed, and I'm trying to find a church, and I'm like, what's going on here? And then 3rd day, this girl walks out of the common bathroom, nearly naked, no tops, just the bottom part. European girl, like just couldn't care less, like whoever's watching. And I'm like, bro, that's it. I got to get out of here. I'm married. I gave my life to Jesus. I got to get out of this. This is hell. And it's like, are you kidding me? This is heaven. I'm loving this. So he didn't want to leave. I was like, bro, you don't speak any English. I don't speak any English. But I know what I'm capable of. You're coming with me. I need a nailers or something. So we walked out, and then we walked up Queen Street in Auckland. It's the main street in the city. At the top of the hill, I see this church, Baptist Tabernacle. The only thing I could understand it was Baptist. I was like, okay, Baptist, that's my people, bro. That's where I come from.
The pastor's name was Bruce.
Pastor Bruce. Yeah.
Shucks.
So I walked
Pastor
in.
Bruce.
I was like, I need to speak to the pastor here. With whatever English I had, I need to speak with the pastor here.
Pastor?
Kind of like that. And they're like, oh, he's busy. And I'm like, no, I'll wait. So that was like maybe 11 o'clock in the morning. I waited until 6 o'clock in the afternoon when he finishes. You know, it was probably a people day, catching up with people. He finishes, comes to see me. And I was like, I went on this, back in the day, there was these computer shops that you could access the internet because there was no internet on the phones or anything. So I figured out what I wanted to say. So I put it on a translator, what I wanted to say. I have no house, I have no money, I can work, help me. That was it. So I read it to him. I have no house, I have no money, I can work, help me. And it's like, what do you mean help me? I can't help you. I'm not the government, I can't help you. I was like, just anywhere. Sleep, church. I meant I wanted to sleep in the church. I'm happy with it. And it's like, no, we don't do that here. At the top of the church, there was this backpacker for students. Now, this was a nice backpacker. Or is that what you call it, backpacker or whatever? This was a nice hostel.
Hostel, yeah.
Not the trashed one on the bottom of Queen Street. So it's like, you can stay here for 2 months. And then you have to go out, you have to leave because the students are coming. So he actually allowed me to stay for free.
Wow.
We walked in this place. It's like common kitchen, nice couches, bed, sheets, everything. I was like, this is a 5-star hotel from where I'm coming from. I'm loving it. So the first picture I took, it was me sitting on the window with the skyline of Auckland at night. I was like, I'm living the dream. Let's go.
Is that photo there?
No, this is my mom and dad.
Okay.
This is a photo of my mom and dad that I carry. And that's me, little one.
Oh, how's that head of hair,
yeah,
baby?
There you go.
Let's go, Afro.
So this is a little prayer I wrote. That was 2013 when God just saved me. And I'm praying that...
How's the Afro on him?
Yeah, not when God... Like 10 years later after God had saved me. And then I'm praying that God will save them. So,
bro, your dad is you.
Yeah, literally.
And you look like Bell.
So, we stayed in this place for a couple of days, couple of nights, and then Nalini calls saying, I'm coming. I'm not waiting 3 months. I'm coming. So she comes at the 3rd week that I'm staying, and then, she walked in. She can speak English.
Yeah, bro, I'm just going to pause you right there. She should have been with you first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The moment she arrived,
she's an English teacher.
The moment she arrived, she's like, "Okay, what are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, I'm just trying to find a job. How? I'm speaking English. So she got the newspaper, went into the ads. It's like, okay, painter. You can paint. Can you paint? You can paint. Mind you, she has known me for a year and a half. She does not know my history. Like, you can paint. Can you paint? Yeah, you can paint. All right, you're a painter. You're a painter. So she found me these different ads, and I just went around and found what the sites where the guys were working. Went into a few different ones, and this guy decides to give me a hand and said, "Look, I'll teach you everything you need to know." And then I got my first job as a painter. And yeah, not that I did anything. I was just sanding the houses. Actually.
And he's been painting ever since.
I've been painting ever since. And it became a career. No, not really. I think I lasted for like 4 months.
Right.
And I changed it.
That paragraph, that sentence just sums up in two forms the Brazilian lifestyle. Well, one, the rest of Nalini's life. What are you doing? What are you doing? You can do this. Yeah. And then every Brazilian, man, there's a painting. You can paint, hey? Oh, man, I'm a professional painter. Man, you're a sparky, aren't you? Yeah, man, I watched my uncle do it.
That's us. Yeah, Brazilian people is just like, we're not qualified, most of us. We're not qualified. But it's a MacGyver kind of lifestyle, you know, you do whatever you
But it works here. It actually works here because you pick up skills on the job.
Though. Yeah, it didn't work for me. I lasted 4 months, I think, in that job. And then I moved.
So Nalini got a job at a bank, eh?
In the beginning, she got a job at a hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And she was working every angle in the hotel. And she was actually the brain behind the stories, obviously, for us to work out our visa. So she could speak English. She had the qualifications. She studied, grew up in America. And here I am like, what do I bring to the table? Nothing, literally nothing. So basically, I could say, I wouldn't even say 90%, 100% of the things that we have is due to whatever course she decided to take. She's like, okay, we're going to do this. She's the brain behind it.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. And then you're locking into a local church there?
Yeah. So at the time, you know, the Baptist Tabernacle, we started going there. And one day, Pastor Bruce said, we're going to have a missionary service and you're going to pray in Portuguese. I was like, sure, I can do that. In Portuguese, I can do that.
That's pretty cool.
So at the end of the service, I said a little prayer in Portuguese. And when the service finished, I was famous because there was like 30 Brazilian people in that church that I had never knew of. And they walked up to me and said, "Oh, you're Brazilian. That's nice. We have a Brazilian in the leadership of the church." I was like, "Bro, no, you got it all wrong. I'm just leaving here. That's a favor." And they're like, "Oh, we're starting a Brazilian church. You want to come and help?" Sure, I can speak Portuguese. Let's go. So I think they thought I was qualified because, I was praying at the end of the service. So I was like, yeah, I'll help. And then, honestly, no one knew anything in that church except for the pastor.
That was on Cobra Pass, eh?
Yeah. So, K-Road, yeah. So the pastor started a church there. At the beginning, it was like 20 people or something.
Well, the Baptist pastor, Bruce.
No, another pastor, an Assembly of God pastor came over and started a church. And these people were coming because they're all Brazilians. That's what they had in common. So it doesn't look anything like an Assembly of God, just to say that, because, everyone has different languages and different baggages. And I helped start it, and I'm pretty outgoing, so I'm easy to make friends with most people. And I was like, okay, let's do this, let's do that. So I was doing what I could understand of whatever church actually meant, what I could see. I didn't have much of an experience in Brazil, and I saw the Baptist Tabernacle. And at a certain point, we started going to this church called Life, which is where Marshall was, just to learn English. We would go to church to learn English. Wow. And try to copy what they were doing, sort of thing. At the same time, the Brazilian church is just bringing more Brazilians and looking a bit different, and a bunch of Brazilians going to Life. And I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this seriously, I got to learn how that's done. And then I heard there was this internship program at Life. And
what year was that?
I think that was 2009, eh? Or 2009 or 11, something like that.
Would have been. 2000.
Not 8.
7 or 8?
Because 2007 we went to New Zealand.
Oh, must have been 2008.
Yeah, 8 or 9. Yeah. So we went in there. I think I'd been going to Life for maybe 2 months, 3 months. I would sit at the back. I would see how the translation was working, just trying to make friends with different people. And yeah, there was this internship program, and for some reason, everyone had an intern already, and no one wanted to take me in. And then Marshall was like, "Yeah, I'll take another one." He had a pretty bad intern before, which is Josh.
Did he know what was
Stepp.
coming his way?
I have to mention him because
It was
every time
Josh
I have
Stepp.
a conversation, Josh Stepp comes up as the worst intern. So Josh, that's you. I'm not taking that title.
She's two big contenders. Far
Yeah, and
out.
then Marshall had said, "I'm not taking any intern anymore. This is it. That's the story I heard anyway at the time." So he said, "I'll take another one," thinking that it was going to get better. And then my class, we had 3 interns: me, Tyke, and Ruben. And I think I became the contender for the worst.
Worst in the history of New Zealand. So, how many interns had you had before
A
him?
few. Yeah, a few. But this
No, it wasn't. If it was
season-
Josh, and then there was that class. Like you had interns that you oversaw.
Yeah. I oversaw our internship.
Not the direct
But I had
ones.
one personal one because of situation.
Yeah.
So,
Special situation.
but then the next year, I ended up with 3.
Yeah. Me, Ruben, and Tyke.
Yeah.
So, how was your English at that point? Did you even understand much of what this guy was saying?
Maybe half. Wasn't that good, eh? Maybe
That
half.
was right. Oh no, I had fucking Mulder before that.
Who?
Remember?
Sorry,
remember
what?
Fokker?
You want to say that name again?
The Dutchie from Holland.
Oh, yeah,
Him as
yeah.
well.
What was his name?
Focky Mulder.
Wow.
I'm not even going to say that because I say normal words incorrectly sometimes.
No, he was good.
Lovely guy.
He was a Dutchie. He was tough as.
Mm.
I had him as well. I had him before you, I think, because you sort of came halfway. I think.
I can't remember.
exactly
Yeah, I can't remember.
So, but I'd known Ruben for a long time, like a long time. Yes.
So that was
Do you want
1
to tell
year.
the story or do I tell the story? That's pretty
We
important.
don't tell that story, do we?
Oh, okay. Never mind. All right.
I think it's two. I think it's two lifetimes away. But you were in there for a year with Marsh.
For a year. Yeah. 9 months.
Yeah, and it was just so.
My
grace,
internship was cut at 9 months. I'll just say that.
It was grace filled. It was an experience for everyone. There was lots of memories shared.
It was certainly an
think the
experience
issue-
for everyone.
The issue was, man, he thought he knew everything.
Yeah.
He
He
was telling me what to do.
speaking in past tense.
yeah, I am speaking in past tense. It
I
was-
got better, bro. I
was
did get better.
tough, man.
Nah, I reckon you have. You have,
He
bro.
was just so Pedro was so intense.
Someone said like a couple of weeks ago, bro, you're too intense. I was like, bro, I've been hearing this my whole
He
life.
just wanted to preach and just tell me how to preach and lead.
Oh, he told you how to preach, did he?
Jeez, bro, I told him more than that.
So it's just like, you know what,
Yeah.
man? You just iron some shirts and shut your mouth.
Yeah, we'll just keep the story of the shirt. This guy brought a black shirt, a button-up black shirt, every single Sunday.
I had 3 shirts.
Yeah.
Usually.
But the black
Usually
shirt
3
is
shirts on a Sunday.
the black shirt is
There?
there. So and the black shirt would come full of fur, like the dog's fur and all of that. I was like, doesn't this guy wash his clothes? But I think he did it on purpose. He just like wrapped his dog on that shirt and then brought it. Like it was wrinkled and full of fur. I was like, okay, what do you want me to do this? You clean it and iron it. Okay. So in the hopes, as an intern, in the hopes that one day he would wear that. And I was like, you know what? I did that. That was my part. Like I did it. I ironed that shirt. You know, like I wanted something, some sort of evidence. For 9 months, he never wore that shirt. He would make me clean it and iron it for 9 months, apart from the other things that I was doing, very significant things in internship, like washing cars and mowing lawns and all of that. For 9 months, that's all I did. He never wore the shirt. One day I asked, like, why you make me do this? I clean it, I iron it, you never wear it. And he's like, I never told you I was going to wear it. That was it.
I'm going to take it home.
That was
My
the
dog-
extent of the
my
conversation.
dog's going to wear
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
And I'm going to bring it back next week.
Exactly.
I do remember one thing. You driving me to an appointment.
Oh, no, Whangarei. Oh, jeez. That was Whangarei, wasn't it? Like 3 hours or something.
No, the one where you were in the car for.
Yeah,
you
that
were
was
waiting
far away.
for me.
That was far away.
Oh, there was another one. I remember.
Did you get him to drive you to a place that he thought you were going in for a meeting, but really you were hopping on a plane and going on a holiday, and he waited there for 4 days?
Yes.
Bro, that would have been better. That would have been better. This one that he's talking about, and he went to a pastor's counseling thing, without going into much detail. I drove for like 2 hours or something. big Ford Explorer. I'm feeling like the man. He's on the phone doing his stuff, and I'm like, he doesn't even talk to me. So when we get to the place, he gets off the car, and I'm like, turn off the car. I'm starting to get off, and he's like, where are you going? Where are you going? So, well, we're going off, aren't we? No, you staying in the car. I'm going. You stay in the car. Obviously, he has his reasons because they were doing some sensitive stuff. The guy that's inside feels sorry for me. Like the pastor, like, bro, like that's too much for an intern. He's feeling sorry. So he comes out and says, you come along. That's all right. I spoke to him. You sit on that corner like a dog. You sit on that corner. I'll bring you a little bit of food. He brought me a bowl of food. I ate on the corner. They finished the meeting. He comes and grabs me like a dog by the leash. Okay, let's go. And then I drive back, drop him home, and that's it. Done. No, he drops me off.
So rough.
Opens the door. All right, see you on Sunday. That's it. Never said anything. Bro,
How blessed though.
epic.
How blessed
epic.
were you?
Bro, amazing. Honestly,
Yeah.
best year of my life. I would come back every Sunday. I think we had Sunday and Monday or something like that. I would come back and
No, it was like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
No, Wednesday we had class. I'm not sure about Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I would come back every day of internship, like crying, punching. It was like I just wanted to kill someone. And Nalini would go like, this guy's been so good to you. You are changing so much. I think there was one point during the internship.
Wow,
or maybe-
Nalini would say that to you.
After the internship, Marshall came to our house once, I think. We were involved in the church stuff. When Marshall left, all Nalini could say was like, I wish I could thank him more. Yeah, that was it. So that's why I love
Babe,
this guy so much.
I have washed that shirt and ironed it, and I'm pretty sure it's his dog shirt.
It sounds terrible.
Nah, but I knowing,
Bro, to this day, Nalini refers to a lot of things he said. Like, remember what Marshall said? Listen to your wife. And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, man, like he's got a pretty big,
you know
big
how
space in my heart.
I don't know where this comes from. It's not in the Bible, but people always say God gives his toughest challenges to his bravest or like strongest soldiers or whatever people say. Well, it's nothing to do with that, but God disciplines those that need discipline.
Oh, that's in the Bible for sure.
God gives his greatest discipline to those that are of need of it.
I needed it, bro.
I think it was, you have to come to a point of brokenness.
Yeah.
You have to come to a point of brokenness.
I was
serve
already
the
broken.
Lord, man.
By the time I got there, my relationship with my dad is fragile, fractured, pretty much in pieces. My marriage is like, I love Nalini, but I don't know what you do. I've never been counseled. I've never been directed. I've never been to church. I have no idea. My values are all wrong. I think I'm the man. I think I know everything. I'm telling a guy with like 15 years of experience what to do. So I literally needed it.
Yeah, hard.
Yeah.
Hard. Yeah, and I think it's relatable for most people if they actually think about it. It's relatable for me.
That's why I crack jokes with the interns. The internship has changed so much because
I've changed so much.
bro. He used to honestly.
I had a bad reputation, though.
He felt pleasure in smashing.
He felt pleasure.
He was like, "This is so good."
He went
This is so
home.
good.
He went home going, there it is. Oh, made him feel like crap today, and gosh, golly, I feel really good.
Yeah, I bet he was feeling that.
I just want to say for everyone listening, I've been walking beside Marsh, ironing his shirts and cleaning his clothes for 11 years.
It doesn't change, eh?
Nah, I've been interning under Marsh for 11 years now. Never had to wash his clothes. Never had to do anything.
That's how soft he's become.
He's an amazing leader.
Yeah,
Look
he's
at my
become
life,
very
man.
soft.
I've got 3 kids, beautiful wife, beautiful family, and it's because of nice.
That's because you made good choices.
No, what I'm saying is, you're a good
Bro,
leader.
he's always trying to deflect, man. Yeah, I think you should take him off the podcast because he's just trying to deflect everything.
I'm giving him encouragement. I think he's great. I think
You are great, bro. You are great. You've changed a lot of people's
Yeah,
lives.
but anyway, it's not about you. So
It's about me
Question, yeah, because we're gonna have to wrap this
Let's
up.
go
some
back
way.
to 10 years ago when it was about me.
Nah, so what happened from there? You got you left internship early because I'm assuming you graduated because you were so amazing. They said a year.
Nah.
Not for this guy.
I was ejected, actually. So let's start there. I was ejected in 9 months, and we can tell the story another day. I was ejected from the internship.
Did Marsh eject
couldn't
you?
take it. Yeah, he couldn't take it anymore. And then we had a big fight. I went overseas. At the time, my dad was sick, and I thought it was the last one, last time I would see him. So I went overseas. I went back to Brazil. It was a good reconciliation time, pretty good. Came back after that, and again, it's a long story. And when I came back, I had it in my something happened to me, and I had to come and apologize, and I had to make amends. So I walked back into the office. I sent him an email and said, "Yeah, come along." I walked back into the office, and he just welcomes me like nothing happened, just like, "Yeah, bro, welcome home." And I'm like, "Okay, what do I have to do?" Nothing.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, I left unfinished. No, the internship actually starts now. Now that you went as a rebellious boy, you came back as a man. Now you know what you do. So we'll see the fruit of that. And then we walked for maybe 2 years, 3 years.
Oh, man.
I had some stupid ideas. Decided to start a church in New Zealand, in Mission Bay.
No, you helped the Brazilian church.
Yeah, I was helping the Brazilian church,
Yeah.
and he said, "You were sowing seed in a fruitless vine. It's not gonna happen. You're gonna have a Saul David battle really soon." He said it to my face, and I'm like, "You don't know what you're talking about." And then that's exactly what happened. The guy there, we were doing the little English service thing, and it grew bigger than the church. I mean, the church wasn't big. The church was like 70, 80 people. So we had a mix of Brazilian and Kiwis and South Africans and all of that, probably around 50 or 60 in like 4 months. Just young guys coming. And wasn't the biggest of the deals. But the pastor got jealous, and then we had this
You
argument.
had a David and Saul.
Yeah, the David and Saul moment. And I ran back to him. I was like, "Oh, you
But
haven't."
I was in Australia then.
No, you hadn't moved yet. You hadn't moved yet.
Because that's
You were
when
about to.
I was about to,
Yeah.
and then I came back for a visit.
Yeah,
and
when you
that's
came
we-
back, I was trying to
Yeah.
revive that because I was like, the pastor told me, you either have to go or let these people go.
Yeah.
You go with them or let them go. And I was like, nah, I'm not letting them go. That's not what a pastor does and all of that. So I decided to stick with them and start a church in Mission Bay of all places, which is like upper class. They wouldn't listen to me
Zero
anyway.
Brazilians there.
So
Mission Bay.
at this time, I'm trying to revive this thing. He comes back from Australia. It was like his time coming back and forth trying to figure out.
We met at Wendy's in Linfield.
Yeah, we met at Wendy's for dinner, and it's literally a father-son relationship. He's saying, "Come and meet me for dinner. Come and meet me for dinner." And I was like, "Okay, he cares." I didn't even know what to ask. We're having dinner, and I'm talking about my things, like I'm gonna change the world. As soon as we finish, he says, "Why are you selling your car?" That's what he says. "Why are you selling the car?" I'm like, What? We didn't even touch that. You didn't even see my car. There was no sign in my car. You don't remember that, do you? Yeah. "Why are you selling the car?" I was like, "How do you know?" He asked the second time, "Why are you selling your car?" And I went on like for like a few seconds, and it's like, no, you don't understand. I told you to give it away. Why are you selling your car? And I'm like, this is not Marshall. There's something happening. It's sort of like a spiritual moment, a prophecy moment. And I had sort of heard that God wanted us to give our car away, but I didn't want to tell anyone because I didn't want to give my car away. So he literally brought that up, and that's how the story unfolded. I went back home. When I got back home, Nalini is crying because at the end of that conversation, Marshall said, "You've done enough. You came here for one thing. You wanted to get your passport. You've got it. Now you got to go back to your people and teach them what you have learned." That was the end of the conversation. I'm like, I don't want to do that. And then we left. Pretty good. Finished the dinner. Went back home. Nalini's crying. I was like, "Why are you crying?" "I know what Marshall told you. He told you to go back home, and we don't want to go back home." I was like, this is bad. "And he also told you to give away the car because God told me that he had told you, and you disobeying, that you should give away the car." And I was like, man, and she comes from a Presbyterian church. Like, that's not normal. So long story short, we make that decision. It takes a year to process that. Marshall comes back. I come here, I think, a couple of times, and we were like, okay, we're going to go plant a
Go to
church in
Sydney
Brazil.
first.
That's the thing. And then I got an offer to move to Sydney to do a job. And Marshall, what do you think? And it's like, bro, we're with you. You're just going to delay. God has a plan for you. You're just going to delay it. You're supposed to be gone a long time ago. And I'm like, nah, you don't know anything. I'll go to Sydney. So I went to Sydney, came here a couple of times, maybe 3 times. And then he's like, "Are you tired yet? Like, are you done? Because we are like, it's been 2 years since we know. Are you gonna obey or?" That was that was probably the moment where I got like, okay, I don't know anything. This is taking too much.
Oh, wow.
Trying too much effort. And that's when I gave in. That's when you actually became, well, the father that I consider. Until then, he was like a good mentor. When I needed it, I looked up to him. But then he was like, now he knows what he's talking about. He's got my best interest in mind. He's not going to do anything to harm me. So then I was like, okay, what do you say? And then we worked out a plan.
Come here, stay with us for a few months.
Stay with us for a few months. We'll take care of everything.
Church.
And then, that, like, you have to understand, that's a shift, because there was not much of an interaction between you ironing my shirt and I'm smashing you to come over here, we'll take care of you. There was not much of an interaction. There was like just a couple of years went by, a few conversations. But I think that's one of your gifts. You see the potential in people before they know they have it.
But also, when people sign up for internship, they're signing up for a year of learning what a servant is.
Yeah. Challenge.
So you're putting yourself in a bubble of dying to self.
Pressure.
Yeah. And it's so, it's not a year of like, oh, what's in your heart or what's, no, you just need to learn to serve.
Yeah.
Man.
So my internship actually took like 4 years.
That actually reminds me, when I started internship, you said to me, I don't know if I want to share this, we can edit this out. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but you were like, I can't be your friend this year. And it broke my heart, because he was like I was friend. Like, what? I went home and I was like, man, he can't be my friend. Like,
yeah, there was a page out of my book.
What's he gonna do? And but I was all for it, and I couldn't wait to finish. Because I was like, I just want my friend back.
Yeah, when he said something similar to me, I wasn't all for it. I was like, yeah, you know what? Flip you.
Flip you.
Yeah, not you.
There's this parable that just destroys me every time. It's the one where a servant toils hard in the yard and comes home to the master.
Yeah.
And the master says, make me some dinner. Does the servant also dish him up his own food as well and sit with the master? No. He waits on the master, serves the master, and then when the master's finished, and then he gets his own meal. So after he's done what he's told, he still has to do what he's told. And he's the very...
Yeah.
Yeah, and...
There's no appreciation, no encouragement, no thank you, no recognition, no acknowledgement. It's like you're a servant. And like, if Jesus is our master, then why do I need all the affirmation and recognition and acknowledgement? Did I do a good job, master? And you just did what you're told.
Yeah.
I don't give you a reward for doing what you're told.
You won't get a thank you for that.
Yeah.
It actually says that as well. It says even when he's done all of that, should the master say, well done? No. And it's like, no, because you've just done your job. Yeah.
So that's my own revelation of, I do this not for applause. I just do this or thank you. It's just, So when people say they want to do an internship, it's really signing up to learn what a servant is. Because unless you can serve, you can't lead.
Yeah. For me, on that same note, what gets me is that Jesus, being the master, played the servant.
Exactly.
And we can thank him, but he's not expecting it, because
he's a servant.
Yeah.
He came to serve, not to be served.
Not to be served.
So that's why, for me, if you want to be a leader, you have to be the servant.
Yeah.
So you have to be the best servant to be the greatest leader.
So if you're going to intern, here's a heads up. Don't just come with the servanthood in mind.
Yeah, but it'll break. That's what breaks your ambition.
Yeah.
That's what breaks your concept of leadership, of doing great things for God. It has to come to that point of breaking to actually,
It's true.
Man, that should actually be the intro scripture of internship.
Well, I do say, if you want to be the greatest, you have to be the servant of all. Welcome to
Matthew.
slavery.
Yeah.
Welcome to slavery. Yeah.
Because
I remember that clearly.
Like, I want to be great in the kingdom of God, so I have to be the servant of all. I have to be the slave of all. Man. So, you know, it's a very...
I think that
posture.
what is that? Do you know? Is it Psalms or Proverbs?
What?
That scripture where the master comes from the field after toiling all day.
That's a parable Jesus
Is it a
tells.
parable?
Jesus.
Yeah, it's in...
It'll be in Matthew then.
I think it's Mark. I'll find it.
Yeah, I'll have a look today.
Yeah, I'll actually find it now.
Because that's
it's a really powerful, powerful story. That's good.
While he's finding that, what can we wrap up on, Pedro? Because
I think that's a pretty good wrap up, man. Read that scripture. Give it to them.
Yeah, what's it? Luke 17.
Luke 17:7.
Good plug for Bible college.
If you have faith as a mustard seed, this is why this is powerful, because Jesus, as the apostle said to the Lord, increase our faith. So people, increase my faith. Okay. So if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mulberry tree, be pulled up by your roots and be planted in the sea, and it would obey you. And same vein, same sentence, same. And which of you, having a servant ploughing and tending sheep, will say to him when he comes in from the field, come at once, sit down and eat? But will he rather say to him, prepare something for my supper, and gird yourself and serve me till I have eaten and drunk, and after you can eat and drink? Does he thank that servant because he did the things that were commanded of him? I think not. So likewise you, when you have done all those things which you are commanded, say, we are unprofitable servants. We have done what was our duty to do.
Yeah.
This is after they say, increase our faith.
Yeah.
Increase our faith.
You want more faith?
Right.
Serve.
Just shut your mouth and
Yeah.
serve the Lord.
Right.
I think there's a beautiful double meaning in there when Jesus tells all of that. So this is the behavior, this is the attitude I want from you guys. But at the same time, you look at Jesus as the good shepherd. Psalm 23, I prepare a table for you.
Yes.
So you come and sit on my table. The Last Supper, same thing. You come and sit with me. Not after me, but with me. So there's like, man, this is something to be learned. Someone, and you've always said that, meekness is the power to crash you, smash you, and stopping there. And Jesus says, learn from me because I'm meek. That's the idea. So I just,
It's
there's
amazing.
a lot in there. There's a lot in there.
So yeah, that's, to me, when I say I can't be your friend for a year, it's because I can't treat you like a friend. You need to learn what a servant is. Yeah. Because until you learn
That's
to
pretty,
serve, you can't lead.
Yeah.
That's got me, eh?
And you can't increase your faith unless you...
And
I
without
like
faith,
that, man. Increase our
impossible.
faith. But then, like, nothing we will ever do serving is ever praiseworthy. So even honoring you, man, Marsh, I just want to honor you. Even though, like, yeah, that's, man, it's actually like, man, we're just doing what we're supposed to be doing.
The greatest reward for any leader is see the people they've taught doing well. They don't need the praises. A true leader doesn't need the praises.
No, but we,
Just see the results.
Yeah.
man, great way to wrap this up. Pedro, thanks. And
It's awesome.
And I just want to thank Nalini
Thank
as
you.
well. Shout out to Nalini. We love you, Nalini.
Nalini on
I
here.
bet.
We will get Nalini next.
Well, okay, I'm putting money on the table if you get her here because she ain't coming.
How much?
I'll ask you.
How much? Oh, let me
If
go
you-
first.
If you say she'll come,
No, let me go first.
yeah, she'll say no.
Let's see about that. Let's see about that.